There's one thing I have to talk about. You know, when I was a kid in school, they used to have something called current events. I don't know if they do this anymore, but it was to teach you to read the newspaper. Everybody would have to come in and report on a story. Maybe, you know, you do it only on Thursday or whatever, but I would read the newspaper every day. And in my house, we got the New York Times, and I would read the New York Times. And in those days, it was still a newspaper. And I noticed as a little kid, I'm talking like in 6th grade, I noticed that your eyes naturally went to stories that upset you. Your eyes naturally went and you naturally read stories that made you angry or that you thought were stupid or where somebody said something that was absurd. And nowadays, what they have, and I noticed that right away, and I thought like, well, you got to kind of guard against that so you're not always getting ticked off and you don't think the world is worse than it is. Nowadays, they have, you know, social media, which is actually geared to do exactly that. So, you know, some clown on Twitter who's never done anything or been anywhere and doesn't know anything about anything, says something crazy and it becomes a news story. You know, you suddenly go like, people on Twitter are saying that women are really men spelled backwards. And you go, oh my God, the world is, it's going to hell. And, you know, think like, it's 6 guys. Some crazy guy lives with his mom in the basement. He's sending stuff out on Twitter. So I don't like to go to stuff that upsets you right away unless it is representative. Hillary Clinton, and after all, Hillary Clinton is not some clown on Twitter. Hillary Clinton was the Democrats' nominee for president of the United States, got more actual people to vote for her than Donald Trump did. She gave an interview in Mumbai, I guess it was, in India, and she was asked once again why. There's one thing that Hillary Clinton is an expert on. She doesn't know anything about, you know, international affairs. She doesn't know anything about governing. She doesn't know anything about America. But if you ask her why she lost the election, she is an expert. Listen to this, her latest explanation.
What the map doesn't show you is that I won the places that represent 2/3 of America's gross domestic product. So I won the places that are optimistic, diverse, dynamic, moving forward. And his whole campaign, Make America Great Again, was looking backwards. You know, you didn't like black people getting rights. You don't like women, you know, getting jobs. You don't want to, you know, see that Indian American succeeding more than you are. Whatever your problem is, I'm going to solve it. So it was a symptom, but it was also a cause, because having someone run for president who voices those ideas, who rejects so much of the American story and our values, was also the underlying cause as well.
You know, I didn't realize until I heard that how much you people stink. You really are you are deplorable. She's right. I mean, you don't like black people. You don't like women. You hate Indian. You know, that is so cynical of her that she's talking to Indian people. Obviously, she's in Mumbai, and she says, oh, you know, Donald Trump, the people who supported Donald Trump, they hated those Indian Americans. I know that's what you were sitting there going like, Hillary or Donald? Well, you know, if I vote for Hillary, there's going to be an Indian American going to come in to my workplace. I knew that's what you were really thinking. You know, what is amazing about this is if this were just this old, you know, later on she went and she fell down a flight of steps. And I was thinking, I don't know why, you know, maybe she's old, maybe she's on drugs, maybe, you know, some medication or something like this. All I know is when I lived in England, all my friends were always falling down and they show up with black eyes and, you know, broken ankles. And I'd say, what happened? Well, I fell down. And then I realized everybody in England is an alcoholic. The entire country is drunk from beginning to end, you know? And so that's why they fell down. I don't know if that's what's happening with Hillary. But she does represent the people who voted for her and the people who support her in hating the rest of America. And I just pulled this together and asked the guys here to make a little montage. And this is just from, I think it's just from yesterday, it may be 2 days, of the way people talk about Donald Trump, his supporters, and the situation in Washington. This is just a montage of commentary from the last day or maybe 2. Listen to this.
Whenever he goes out there and whips up like it's a Mussolini rally.
And I know what the NRA likes to do, the people at the top of the NRA like to do, is they like to hide behind the Second Amendment and say that this is our constitutional right, we're Americans. And what they're really trying to do is say, let us sell you more guns at an even younger age, put more people at risk, scare more people, cause more violence, kill more people, and sell more guns.
I don't think he's capable of the basic empathies that we feel as human beings, and that's what a sociopath is. I think everything is immediately translated to me. I don't think, I'm not inside him, but everything I know and know him for 20 years, when we see children dying, we as humans, we as parents, feel a certain way. I actually doesn't think it translates to him, and that's what makes him a sociopath.
Well, they're acting like, slimy political operatives, not moral leaders.
You're slimy, you're sociopathic, there was one guy there, we didn't put him in there. There was one guy who had actually been in a concentration camp in Germany, and he said living in Trump's America is like living in a concentration camp. So if people feel this way about you, how can they ever understand what it is you actually think? I mean, part of this pathology on the left about race has a lot to do with this, that if you say, well, Barack Obama is kind of a leftist, and they say, well, you just say that because he's racist. If they're always thinking about race, how can they ever hear what you're saying if you're not talking about race at all? And so they interpret everything in an entire. How can we ever have a conversation when that's what they think of you? When they think that you want people to die, that you're, Van Jones. I'll just end this opening with putting on Van Jones. Van Jones is now so upset living in your America, the America that you wanted and that you voted for, that he's begging Oprah Winfrey. And listen to this. He's begging Oprah Winfrey to come down from above and save us.
We had we had the Obamas in the White House. So even on a bad day, you had a North Star, you had some hope. And then it was like the universe just said, psych, and threw us in the toilet and closed the lid. And now we're just stuck in this crazy situation.
We have each other. We have each other.
Tell me about that.
And this is the thing. I think I have to just say,
please say,
everybody is feeding yourself on the hysteria and the negativity. You gotta stay in the light. But one of the reasons why I was so excited is about A Wrinkle in Time, because the message is that the darkness is spreading so fast these days. You must become a warrior of the light.
Stay in the light. And see my movie. You don't want to miss my movie if you want to be in the light. I mean, this is the world that they are living in. They are living in this world of utter disaster. And